The moment her palm struck my face, everything stilled, the clink of silverware, the ticking antique clock, even my breath. Only the heat remained, blooming across my cheek like wildfire, burning through years of silence. "You'll understand on your own," my husband muttered, eyes locked on the untouched pasta. He didn't flinch, didn't move, didn't look. I stood there, stunned. His mother, Helena Moorcroft, was still clutching her wine glass, unbothered, polished nails wrapped around crystal like she owned time itself. Her lips curled. "You brought shame into this house," she said calmly. "You act like some entitled stranger. You forget whose name you married into." The room spun. I didn't cry. I didn't run. I left the room without a word, heels echoing down marble. I remembered what someone once told me. The moment they hit you is the moment they expect you to break. But what if you don't? The door to the bedroom slammed. Hard. The reflection in the mirror stared back at me, not weak, not shattered. Not anymore. I opened my laptop. My fingers didn't tremble. I logged into the estate archive. My name was nowhere. No stake. No rights. No power. Except one folder buried 3 layers deep. Silent transfers, 2021. Password required. I tried my birthday. His. Ours. Locked. Outside, the wind held against the shutters like it, too, knew the truth was caged inside. I checked my phone. Voicemail from my sister. 2 seconds in, I deleted it. She'd ask why I hadn't left. Again. Instead, I searched deeper. Emails, invoices, property reports. A receipt popped up. $1.2 million wired to Blake and Rowe Legal Trust last Friday. Authorized by Noah Ketley, my husband. I clicked the email trail. 2 attachments, a property deed and a non-disclosure agreement. My name appeared in neither. "You'll understand on your own," he'd said. I was beginning to. The door creaked. I snapped the laptop shut. Noah leaned on the doorframe, still in his dinner suit, tie loosened like this was just another Tuesday. "Did you call your lawyer?" he asked. "No," I said flatly. He sighed, rubbed the bridge of his nose. "Look, my mother didn't mean it. She's passionate. She hit me. Let's not make this bigger than it is." She slapped me. A pause. "Fine," he said, shrugging. "If you want to sleep in the guest room, go ahead." Then he turned and left, footsteps trailing down the hall like punctuation. I waited until silence fell again. Opened the laptop. Typed in the name on the wire transfer. Blake Legal. Their firm had a branch 2 towns over, specializing in asset protection, hidden transfers, estate partitioning, and they were hiding something. Mine. In the drawer, I found his old notepad, the one he used for meetings. On page 3, scribbled faintly under a grocery list, BNRL Pass, July 2nd, 2011. My pulse thudded in my ears. I typed it in. Click. Access granted. The folder opened. A storm of PDFs, scanned, signed statements, each one a bullet to the spine. Noah had started liquidating my father-in-law's estate, but keeping my name off everything. He was carving the empire clean, and I was being erased. I took photos. Every file, every signature, backed up in the cloud, triple encrypted. The doorbell rang. 10:42 p.m. Noah hadn't come back upstairs. I glanced through the peephole. A man in a charcoal suit, holding a briefcase. He looked up, straight into the lens, and smiled. He knew I was watching. My hand hovered on the lock, because whatever was coming next was already inside. The man at the door didn't knock again. He waited, too still for comfort, the briefcase glinting beneath the porch light. I stepped back. Every instinct screamed. Lock it. Call someone. Run. But I didn't move. Sometimes power doesn't look like screaming. It looks like silence. And silence was what I gave him. He finally turned and walked away. 3 slow steps. Then gone. I locked the door. Deadbolt. Chain. Upstairs, Noah's side of the bed was still untouched. A memory flared, his hand shaking 2 weeks ago, saying he was tired from work. The sudden weekend trips. The muted calls in the garage. All little cuts. I just hadn't known where the bleeding started. Now I did. I opened the laptop again. Silent transfers, 2021. Unlocked. The files poured out like a confession. Internal memos between Blake and Rowe and the Graves Trust. Subject lines. Divestment process. Property consolidation. Marital exclusion clauses. I read until my eyes blurred. One line in bold stopped me. Transfer of 38% stake from V. Ketley to family. Trust finalized by proxy. Authorization. And Ketley. He'd used a proxy authorization. Legal if notarized. But forged? That was prison time. My signature was there. Perfect. Precise. Fake. I opened my drawer, pulled out my real passport, held the signature beside the PDF. They didn't match. The bastards had forged me into invisibility. My throat tightened. I backed everything up, USB encrypted cloud, burner email to myself. One folder named Red Queen. Always keep a kill switch. That's when the message appeared. Anonymous number. No name. No emoji. Stop digging, or you'll regret it. The air turned heavier, thicker. I turned off the lights, just in case. Morning came dull and gray. Noah was already gone. A note on the counter, meeting in the city. Back late. I looked at the handwriting. It didn't match the Noah I knew. The slope was off. The tail of the Y dipped too low. Who had written it? I wasn't paranoid. I was awake. My phone buzzed. Another message. You're being watched. The doorbell rang. Again. This time a courier. Anonymous delivery. Small package. No sender. Inside a black flash drive. No label. I plugged it in with one eye on the hallway. One folder. Whistle. A video file. Click. It was grainy. Security footage. A boardroom. Long table. Noah, Helena, and 2 men in suits. 1 woman. They were signing papers. Helena's voice. The moment she finds out, we file for injunction. Bleed her in court. No press. Man, she'll fold. Women like her always do. My voice cold in my own head. Try me. I yanked the drive. I knew who could help. Jared Lee, a cybersecurity contractor who owed me a favor from years back. I'd helped a sister with a school custody case. He'd said, "If you ever need to disappear someone online, I'm your guy." Now, I didn't need to disappear anyone. I needed to expose them. I dialed. No answer. I left 1 sentence on his voicemail. Need you. Code black. He called back in less than 5 minutes. Bring everything. No cloud. Only analog. And not to your place. We met at a diner in Eastfield. Windows fogged from bad insulation. Booths red leather, cracked in the corners. He wore a hoodie. Kept his laptop in a diaper bag. Smart. I slid him the USB and printouts. He scanned fast. Eyes narrowing. You're sitting on a bomb, V. I know. They're running this through layered proxies. Out-of-state shells. Came in relay accounts. It's clean. Scary clean. Can you prove it? I can trace it, but we need more. Access logs. 1 signature miss, and the whole house of cards comes down. I've got 1. He looked at me. I nodded. They forged my name. He didn't ask how I knew. He just said, "Then we burn them." Outside, headlights flared against the fogged window. Black sedan. Same one from last night. Jared stiffened. That yours? No. The sedan idled. I reached for my coat. We're leaving. He nodded. Back exit. Now. We slipped through the kitchen, past a cook who barely looked up. Out the back. Into the alley. Snow flurried. Light dust. like the world was pretending it was still gentle. A door slammed behind us. Fast footsteps. We ran. A shout. I didn't turn. We ducked into a stairwell of an old laundromat. Jared pulled a key from his sock, opened the basement lock, pulled me inside. He slammed the door. Lights flickered overhead. The USB sat in his palm. Tomorrow we go nuclear. He didn't see what I saw. Through the narrow basement window, someone was watching. Their breath fogged the glass. Still, waiting. And they weren't alone. The basement reeked of damp wood and burnt wiring. Fluorescents buzzed overhead, flickering like they couldn't decide whether to stay alive or give up. I paced the cracked linoleum while Jared clicked through layers of encrypted files. This isn't just inheritance fraud, he said, finally, voice low. It's asset laundering. Multiple shell companies, fronted by blind executors. Names on paper only. My throat tightened. Like who? He clicked. A folder opened. A signature filled the screen. Noah's. But underneath, smaller, co-executor. Zoe V. Kramer. Zoe. The assistant who never spoke more than necessary. Who handled Helena's appointments. Who offered me lemon water at my own wedding. She was in every meeting, I whispered. Every trust conversation. Every closed-door decision. Jared nodded. Your husband's keeping you out, but she's helping them keep you blind. A thud above us. We froze. Then another. Slower. Deliberate. Footsteps. Jared shut the laptop. That's not plumbing. I grabbed the USB. He reached under the couch and pulled out a lockbox. Opened it. Gun. Small. Legal. Registered. You know how to use one. I nodded. He didn't ask how. We moved to the back exit. Another thud. Faster. Footsteps running. He pushed open the metal door. We bolted through the alley. Cold air sliced my lungs. My boots slipped on ice. Behind us, a door banged open. No time to look. In the car, Jared floored it. His breath fogged the windshield. His eyes stayed on the rear view. I encrypted a clone of the drive, he said, stashed on a private server. Air-gapped. He glanced at me. You really did your homework. I didn't answer. Because pain does that, it teaches fast. The car screeched around a turn. A dog barked in the distance. Jared spoke again, quieter this time. You know, they don't just want the money. People like Helena, they want erasure. They want you to vanish without leaving blood on their hands. They underestimated the blood, I said. It's mine. Back at my place, I opened the safe. Inside, my father-in-law's old documents. One of the few things he ever gave me before he passed. Said it was just old land deeds. I'd never read them. Until now. Inside the folder, notarized land grants. Arizona, New Hampshire, and one property in Westchester. All marked as legacy restricted. That phrase triggered something. I searched the term. Found it. Legacy restricted meant no legal transfer outside direct bloodline, unless unanimously approved by all named heirs. My name was one of them. No one ever got my approval. But the documents on the flash drive said otherwise. So they didn't just forge a signature. They forged unanimous consent, which meant someone else in the family was on it, or faked being me. I called the county registrar, gave the file code from the deed. A pause. Then the clerk asked, Are you calling about the sale? It's already finalized. I froze. No, it's not, I said. It is. Signatures filed last Tuesday. You were listed present. That's impossible. I have your signature on record. My hand gripped the phone. Can you send me the time-stamped document? Only to legal counsel or verified recipient. I'll send authorization. Immediately. I hung up. My hands shook, not from fear. From fury. Someone impersonated me in person. That meant makeup, ID a mask or a twin. But I didn't have one. Unless Unless Zoe Kramer had more than one job description. I pulled up her HR profile. No family listed. No prior employment. No birth certificate. Just one line under employer reference. H. Moorcroft, direct. Jared leaned over. That's not a reference, he said. That's ownership. A door creaked in the hallway. I tensed. Gun ready. Then Noah stepped in. Not a hair out of place. Loosened tie. Calm. Like he'd just come from brunch. You've been busy, he said. I didn't speak. He smiled faintly. You could have just asked, you know. I would have explained everything. I leveled the gun. He raised both hands. Don't be dramatic. Dramatic. My voice cracked. You were never supposed to see the transfers. But fine. You've seen them. You want to pay out? You'll get it. Just drop the rest. I stared. You think this is about money? It's always about money. No, I said. This is about a slap. He blinked. And what came after? He stepped forward. I didn't lower the gun. Viv, he said softly, if you go public, you'll destroy everything. The name, the foundation, the trust, your daughter's legacy. I shook my head. You already destroyed it. I'm just pulling the curtain. He stopped. His smile vanished. Then you'd better run, he whispered, before it pulls back on you. He left. I didn't follow. I went back to the laptop. Uploaded everything to 3 off-site servers. Sent packets to 2 journalists I trusted. I also pressed play on one audio file Jared had decrypted. Helena's voice. Cold. Precise. If she talks, stage the accident. Quick. Painless. Fire, maybe. Make it look like guilt. My hands clenched. My daughter's room was 1 floor up. And fire spreads fast. I pressed send all. Because when survival becomes war, exposure is the only weapon. She pressed the USB tight in her fist, and the lights went out. The real hunt had begun. The house was too quiet. Not the peaceful kind, the kind that feels staged. Like someone pressed mute on a crime scene. I moved through the hallway with the USB clenched in my fist, heartbeat ticking louder than the grandfather clock downstairs. The air smelled faintly scorched, like a warning left behind. A phrase my father once told me echoed back. A silent room isn't empty. It's loaded. Tonight proved him right. I checked my daughter's door first. She slept curled beneath a lavender blanket, breath soft, unaware the world outside her dreams had teeth. I kissed her forehead. I'll burn before I let them touch you, I whispered. Then I slipped back out, closing the door gently. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. Nice upload. Brave move. Now you've accelerated the timeline. A cold wave dragged down my spine. They'd seen the partial release I'd pushed to the encrypted servers. Just a taste of the Graves trust fraud. Enough to send a tremor. Not enough to ruin them. Yet, another message followed. We're coming to collect what you stole. I didn't reply. Some wars aren't fought with dialogue. Downstairs, headlights swept across the windows. A car slowed in front of the house. Black. Same model. Same tinted glass. I stepped away from the window, lights off, breath held. 2 silhouettes inside. Watching. Waiting. Cut scene. I grabbed my coat, my gun, the burner phone, and slipped out the back toward the garage, where Jared was supposed to meet me. Snow crunched under my boots, each step loud in the winter stillness. A dark shape shifted behind the fence. I froze. More movement. Quick. Wrong. Jared. I whispered. No answer. My breath clouded the air. Too visible. Then footsteps. Rapid. Approaching. I dashed into the garage and slammed the door, locking it. The metal rattled violently as someone, struck it from the outside. Another hit. Harder. A crack formed near the hinge. I backed up, raising the gun, forcing myself to breathe. Don't panic. Don't blink. A whisper slid through the gaps in the metal. Vivian, give us the drive. Not the same voice from the alley. Worse. Female. Soft. Controlled. Helena. The woman who slapped me like I was furniture. The woman who planned an accident. I swallowed my fear. A third strike. The hinge bent. I bolted to Noah's old toolbox, grabbed a wrench, jammed it into the emergency release. The garage door unlatched and shot upward, snow blowing in. I rolled beneath it, hit the ground, and sprinted toward the neighbor's hedges. Stop her! Male voices now. More than two. Snow blinded. Wind howled. My lungs burned. Cut scene. I hurdled the hedge and hit the icy driveway next door. A motion light clicked on, too bright, too exposed. Someone grabbed my coat from behind. I spun, slammed my elbow into a jaw. A grunt. He fell back. I ran again, legs numb, heart detonating in my chest. Ahead, Jared's old Subaru skidded into the cul-de-sac, tires screaming on ice. The passenger door flew open. Get in. I dove inside, slammed the door. He floored it. The sedan behind us fishtailed, trying to follow. Jesus, V, what did you do? Jared muttered. Pressed back. That wasn't pressing. That was detonating. Good. He shot me a look. You're getting colder. Harder. People grow where they're cut. He didn't argue. The road blurred. Patches of black ice, flashes of streetlights, the sedan gaining then losing traction. Jared swerved into the highway. You still have the drive? He asked. I opened my palm. USB. Warm from my grip. Yes. Then we're not safe anywhere. We just need proof they forged unanimous consent. He smirked bitterly. Just. We need the county registrar's in-person record. They said a physical signature was filed last Tuesday. Jared cursed. So someone showed up pretending to be you. A slow-motion reveal hit me. Dark hair. Similar height. Same build. Zoe. Of course she'd do it. Invisibly. Efficiently. Like she'd been trained for it. I whispered, she's the proxy. Jared's knuckles whitened on the wheel. Then she's dangerous. A new message popped onto my burner. You can run, but you won't get far. Another followed. Your daughter's window is open. Cold night for a child. My breath fractured. Turn around. V. Now. He slammed the brakes, spun the car into a U-turn, and raced back toward my street. The GPS countdown felt like a bomb timer. For minutes. 3, 2. I called 911. Reported a break-in. A threat to a child. Dispatch took the address. Stay on the line, ma'am. No, I said. I have work to do. We cut into the neighborhood. The moment my house came into view, I saw it. The black sedan pulling away. Fast. No headlights. Go. I yelled, throwing the door open before the car fully stopped. I sprinted up the walkway, shoved the door, ran upstairs. My daughter slept peacefully. Window closed. Locked. But the curtain swayed slightly. Not from wind. From movement. Someone had been in here. Watching her. Watching me. I knelt beside her. Tears stinging but refusing to fall. A soft whisper rose inside me, one I didn't recognize as my own until it left my mouth. Fear is the last tool of the small. Downstairs, Jared shouted my name. I ran down. He pointed to the foyer. A single sheet of paper lay on the floor. White, crisp, uncreased. I picked it up. 3 words in neat handwriting. We're not done. Outside, the sedan's taillights disappeared into the night. They knew where my daughter slept. Lights out. Sirens muted somewhere in the distance. Only the fridge humming upstairs. A thin thread of domestic normalcy, mocking the nightmare in my hands. I stared at the kitchen table. Photos. PDFs, audio files. Every shred of betrayal laid bare. I read one line out loud. If she talks, stage the accident. Fire. Quick. Clean. Fire. The promise hovered above my daughter's bed all along. I exhaled cold. Thought of dawn. Of her waking up. Safe. Maybe. Too dangerous now. I grabbed my coat, shoved the files in a heavy duffel, stepped outside. Night air tasted like regret. The sedan had lured 2 houses down. Tinted windows dimmed the world behind them. I moved fast, avoid the street lamp halos. I caught a glimpse of the tail number, shifting, obscured. They were ghosts, slipping in plain sight. Cut. I hopped into Jared's car, motored toward the county building, the registrar's office. We arrived at 2:17 a.m., parking lot empty save for our headlights. Frost cracked underfoot as we ran to the side entrance, tucked between 2 locked doors marked no entry. He picked the lock with sticky fingers. Click. Door opened. Inside. Old hallways, dusty, fluorescent lights buzzing. The vault room door loomed at the end. The faint hum of servers behind concrete walls. He slid the USB into the terminal. A loading bar appeared. The vault unlocked. Files dumped like corpses spilling secrets. Original paperwork, time-stamped PDFs, notarized disclaimers, all contradicting what I was shown before. I found the notarized form stated explicitly. Beneficiary, Vivian McKendrick, joint spouse and heir. No proxy, no forgery. My hands shook. I grabbed photos, audio clips, metadata, everything. If I raised hell, federal hell, they'd drown in subpoenas, criminal charges, contract breaches. But first they had to believe me. I zipped the files, encrypted them with triple-layer SHA-256, sent them to a journalist I trusted, a woman named Clark. One click. Urgent, full story attached. Outside, a loud crack. The vault door slammed. Heavy footfalls. I ducked behind a file cabinet. Jared blocked the door with his shoulder. They tried the handle, rattled it. The light above flickered. My phone buzzed. Caller ID, N. McKendrick. I answered. Where are you? He hissed. I swallowed. At the county office. Exposing everything. Silence. Then, you'll regret this. Click. The line cut. Then more footfalls. Closer. We bolted through fire exit. Spray-painted sign flickering green. 2 people chased us down the stairwell. Heavy boots, muffled voices. We burst into pre-dawn air, freezing, breath visible. We ran into a silver van, parked behind a Subaru. No license plate. Rear doors open. Jared Dovin. I followed. Engine roared. Rear view camera showed no tail. He exhaled, wiped frost off the windshield. You just opened Pandora's box. I dared a ghost of a smile. Let them burn. Morning light came in pale. Gray strips through the blinds of a motel room outside the city. Coffee stale. Phone silent. News off. I opened Clark's reply email. Subject confirmed. Investigating. Meet at 11 a.m. Good thought. For once, good felt possible. I looked at the documents again. The proof. The signatures. The timeline. Everything matched. Underneath it all, I wrote in a permanent marker across the top page, truth. Truth didn't need negotiation. At 10:45, I heard sirens, heard them grow loud, then fade, then a knock on the door. Footsteps. Hesitant. A man in a suit. Bad tie. Thin frame. Badge glinting like a warning. Ms. McKendrick, he asked. Yes. FBI. We need to talk about your filings. And about the Graves Trust. I nodded. He stepped aside. Behind him, 3 federal agents. Cold eyes. Clipboards. Serious faces. Behind them, reporters. Cameras. The flash of bulbs. Microphones. The smell of fear and exposure. I stood. My daughter's face flashed behind my eyes. My slap. My anger. The empire was crumbling. Behind me, the agents read the charges. Guair fraude. Forgery. Conspiracy. Asset laundering. Endangerment. The headline was unwritten, but the ink was already bleeding across the nation. One agent approached, asked softly, "You okay, ma'am?" I didn't blink. I nodded. I turned to the cameras. Inhale. Exhale. Then I spoke. This is just the beginning. They file the evidence. The chains begin, and I watch them fall. We're not done. Dawn broke pale, cold, indifferent. I stood by the window of our new apartment, small, modest, but ours. The snow outside lay heavy, muffling the city's noise. Inside, quiet, almost peaceful. I remembered the slap, the papers, the run, the chase, the fear, and I remembered one last phrase whispered long ago. There's no justice in silence. I inhaled, exhaled. Then I picked up the phone. "Clark," I said, "they're turning over. Everything's coming down." Minutes turned to hours. The screen lit up with breaking news. Scandal at the Graves Trust. Executives removed. Frozen accounts. Shares revoked. Legal filings. Public apologies. Headlines scraping the dark underbelly of power. I watched as names fell like dominoes. Zoe Kramer, Robert Graves, Helena Moorcroft. Their empire, built on forged signatures, secret transfers, silent manipulation, cracked wide open. Cut scene. A courtroom. Flash bulbs. Reporters jostling. I sat on the witness stand. Under oath. The files placed in evidence. The judge's gavel heavy. Final. I looked at them. The faces that once ruled my life. No power behind their eyes. Only exposure. Only shame. One by one they were let out. Cuffs. Cameras. The whir of a media storm. Outside snow fell. Flat. Cold. Blanketing everything like a reset. I touched the ring on my daughter's finger. A tiny promise. I turned to her. Smiling, gentle. "You stay hers," I said to the winter air. "Not theirs." Weeks later, life tried to return. My daughter laughed in the kitchen. Outside, children building snowmen, their boots crunching in the cold. A new coat of white over the ruins. I watched. Safe now. Free. But trust is fragile. And memory is forever. I kept the drive. The prints. The proof. Not for revenge. For legacy. For truth. For the idea that even the smallest voice can shatter glass ceilings. In an interview tape, I replayed Helena's final admission. If she talks, stage the accident. No laughter. No gasps. Just silence. Silence louder than any slap. They said power doesn't belong to one. They were wrong. Power belongs to all who refuse to be erased. I brewed coffee in the morning light. Soft steam swirling, ordinary ritual. My daughter peeked around the door. Slippers sliding on hardwood. She asked, "Mama, are we safe now?" I nodded. I kissed her head. "Always," I said, "because we built something stronger than fear, stronger than lies, stronger than an empire built on blood money and broken lives." Outside, gulls cried above the snow-covered skyline. The city breathed. We breathed. And I finally whispered to myself. The fire died. The ashes scattered. Now we rebuild.